So Lord Delfont, who financed Life of Brian, read the script and said he cancelled it on the spot and said it's blasphemy and he cannot be doing this. So I went up to London that day because they wanted to talk to me because they were determined to make it, and asked how I could stay involved. And Ridley called that same day. He called the office there. There were no cell phones in those days, and said, "Get your backside down to Shepperton, Roger. I need you here." And he'd hired Michael Seymour, he'd done movies, never a science fiction movie, and he used to do all of Ridley's commercials for him. And so he built the Nostromo, and Ridley wanted that claustrophobia. They opened up the stages in Shepperton and built it over 2 stages as a ship that you went in one end and you had to come out the other end. He'd hired some kid who said he could do what I did. No, he'd buy a few jet engines and make all the interiors. And of course, it was floundering. And the set decorator was an old friend of mine, got Oscars for these wonderful period films that were made at that time, who had no idea what to do. And I went down, and and I knew Ridley, and I knew his vision. I loved Duelist. Walking into an office with 6 original Gigas around the wall, and Ridley, and they had me read this script, and I read it in 90 minutes. So I just went through it and said, "Are you on?" I said, "Of course I'm on." Ridley then, it actually sums it up. I was walking across the studios to go and meet Michael Seymour. I knew him, but never worked with him. And the set decorator, Ian Whitaker, ran up to me and hugged me and said, "Oh, please, what do I do with all this scrap? I don't know what to do with it." And so Ridley had to do a screen test for Sigourney Weaver because he was adamant she was right for the role. And the studio, of course, wanted a star in that role to help. And this, like Star Wars, where there was little faith, in this one, there was faith because Star Wars had made so much money, but this was the first R-rated science fiction movie, and they didn't think it was going to work. So he said, "Can you?" They never. It was the same throughout the whole shoot. They never believed it. That's studios. But Ridley said, "Could I build him?" Ostensibly, he just had to say to me, "I want a space truck. I want a truck like an army truck in space." And again, I know the language. What he wanted. I wasn't going to build a truck. I was going to build what when we did the Millennium Falcon. And because I couldn't afford any dressing, we couldn't make anything in the studios, none of it. I got crashed airplane parts or broken scrap, and found mountains of it that no one wanted. And I could buy like jet air. They were the full Rolls-Royce Derwent engines sitting in the rain in scrap yards. And I don't spend £50 on buying truckloads of it. So I knew what to do, and quite literally on, the Millennium Falcon, I was crossing my fingers. I'd said to everyone this would work. I didn't know. I mean, none of this stuff had ever been done before, like adapting weapons, anything like that. So I said, the only thing I need is the props who I trained to break down all of these bits of scrap and pieces of engines into its original parts, and I used those to put in the walls. So they hired the 3 of them. They came across, and we built a piece of the corridor for Ridley for the screen test. It's on YouTube. Actually, you can see it. And that's where they just went, "Oh, that's it." And I had to go to work and build the whole interior of the Nostromo. The bridge on that, no, oil and dust and grease. The bridge drove me nuts.